Yet another surge of violence in Afghanistan, including suicide. Retaliatory airstrikes by U.S. forces is reminding the world once again of the fact that the Afghan war is far from over.
In Afghanistan, a fierce battle is continuing over the control of the strategic city of Ghazni 4 days after the Taliban attacked the city, killing more than 200 people, including over 100 soldiers and police officers. Many residents have fled the city.
Ghazni morphed into an urban battlefield last Friday. People were trapped for 5 days in their homes as thousands of Taliban fighters and Afghan soldiers fought in the streets. US helicopters, drones and a B-1 bomber patrolled overhead.
In Afghanistan, Taliban fighters overran a military base, killing at least 17 soldiers. They attacked the site in northern Faryab province and claimed dozens of soldiers surrendered.
The horrific attack is a clear effort to foment sectarian violence and hold back the Afghan people's hopes for a future of peace and security. It reminds us once again the importance of reaching a peaceful solution to the conflict in Afghanistan. The United States continues to stand with the government of Afghanistan and the people of Afghanistan and will continue to support their efforts to achieve peace and security in their country.
Peace and security. For 17 years now, the American people and the people of the world have listened to the U.S. State Department tell us how the American military is working to bring peace and security to Afghanistan. But this lie is self-refuting. At 17 years, the Afghan war is now the longest war in American history. And despite recent reports about negotiations between the U.S. and the Taliban, the deployment of troops in the country has actually increased in the Trump era.
Breaking news on the nation's long war in Afghanistan. President Trump in a primetime address declaring the U.S. must continue the fight.
The consequences of a rapid exit are both predictable and unacceptable.
And while he didn't commit to a specific number of additional troops, although he said we would see overwhelming force, the president has given Defense Secretary Mattis the authority to set troop levels, and Mattis has favored sending in about 4,000 more U.S. troops.
But as the U.S. falls deeper and deeper into the Afghan quagmire, we risk forgetting how this war was actually authorized. The public is merely reminded, in Pavlovian fashion, that
9/11, the worst terrorist attack in our history, was planned and directed from Afghanistan.
But how was that determination made? Who made it? When? And how did NATO become involved in this conflict? These details are never discussed because they have, for nearly 2 decades, been hidden behind a shroud of secrecy. As we shall see, the entire war was waged on a false pretense based on supposed evidence that was classified and withheld from the public. But now, after nearly 2 decades of lies, the remarkable truth about the secret documents that helped launch the Afghan war can finally be revealed. This is the story of the secret lie that started the Afghan war. You're watching the Quarter Report. Just 1 day after 9/11, while the toxic dust was still settling on Ground Zero, the North Atlantic Council, NATO's decision-making body, met to discuss NATO's response to the attacks.
On September the 12th, the North Atlantic Council met again in response to the appalling attacks perpetrated yesterday against the United States of America. The Council agreed that if it is determined that this attack was directed from abroad against the United States, it shall be regarded as an action covered by Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, which states that an armed attack against one or more of the allies in Europe or in North America shall be considered an attack against them all.
So this is NATO Secretary General on speaking to the Associated Press on September the 12th, 2011. Yo, 9/11 is like the craziest thing so far. The craziest event that's taken place in my lifetime. And I was 19. So I was like on that verge of like research. I was already kind of like trying to learn shit by myself. Like people calling themselves 5%ers, trying to tell me different things about the original man and God and the Masons and all this stuff, man. So I was right at that time when I was starting to like read up on different like secret societies and occults, and then people started telling me about the JFK assassination and all the hypotheses behind that, and then 9/11 happened, and they're like, oh, terrorists, and it's like I can kind of remember. Like before 9/11, all right, I was 19. So before that, like I kind of remember like, some stories about, some plane hijackings or some terrorists doing something crazy. But it was like, I don't know, it never was in this country. So and that's the only thing, dude, is like they've been perpetuating the official story for so long that your generation, hey, good morning, that your generation really have just been hearing one thing for your whole life. Like, oh, Muslims, some radical Islamic Muslims stole some planes and killed a lot of people one day, back in 2001. Yo, what up, Sean? But it's like, really? Is that how that really happened? Like, and then, like I said, I was just learning about the JFK, and this, like, at 19, I was 19 in 2001. And when you think about it, like 2001, the internet was there, but it wasn't like, I wasn't on like doing stuff like this, like streaming and YouTube and everything. So you still getting most of my information was like just mainstream information. So everybody's listening to the news and everything. Like I say, YouTube. That's almost 18 years ago. YouTube really wasn't popping like that. You know what I'm saying? And so for a couple years, it was like, yo, Bin Laden and his homies is crazy. Bin Laden and his homies is crazy. But then I started listening to my man who wrote Behold the Pale Horse. Started reading some David Icke, and then like I came across Alex Jones back in the day. This before Alex Jones was crazy. But Alex Jones was the first person. He was like, yo, it was an inside job. I remember he was no, I'm lying. Yo, this old head, like, Vietnam vet, yo. He was old back then. He was like in his late 70s. And he contracted one of my homies to do something for him. And somehow he gave my homeboy this documentary called Confronting the Evidence. Confronting the Evidence. And I think that was probably the first time. No. I'm lying. Yo, my homeboy showed me some Alex Jones video footage first. I do remember that. And then, but it wasn't Alex Jones. It was just like, he showed me a documentary that was like a clip of some other stuff, and it just had a clip of Alex Jones in it. And then I watched this whole long documentary called Confronting the Evidence. And it was like, confronting the evidence. Once you really look at the evidence of what happened that day, it's like, yo, you can't tell me that the official story is the official story. That's it. That's how it is, yo. And so this, I don't know, this was in my news feed this morning. The secret lie that started the Afghan war. Okay. So I just want to see if they're gonna say something that I've never heard before. How did the Afghanistan war start? How did NATO become involved in the conflict? These details are never discussed because they have, for nearly 2 decades, been hidden behind a shroud of secrecy.
5 of the Washington Treaty stipulates that in the event of attacks falling within its purview, each ally will assist the party that has been attacked by taking such action as it deems necessary. Accordingly, the United States NATO allies stand ready to provide the assistance that may be required as a consequence of these acts of barbarism.
The Washington Treaty, more formally known as the North Atlantic Treaty, is the founding document of NATO. Consisting of 14 articles, it lays out the obligations of the signatory nations to their fellow NATO members. Article 5 states that the parties agree that an armed attack against one or more of them in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack against them all, and consequently they agree that if such an armed attack occurs, each of them, in exercise of the right of individual or collective self-defense recognized by Article 51 of the Charter of the United Nations, will assist the party or parties so attacked by taking forthwith, individually and in concert with the other parties, such action as it deems necessary, including the use of armed force, to restore and maintain the security of the North Atlantic area. That the North Atlantic...
Both of you guys are right. I mean, it's... Exactly. Facts. That's all it is. Like, and the scariest thing is when me and my homie talks about this all the time. America only has two things left that really keeps us propped up as the empire, as the global influencer, as Big Brother, as the world's police. And it's because we control oil with the US dollar as the standard for oil exchange, and we have the world's largest military. That's it. I mean, China's surpassed us in technology. China and India, their economy is booming. Like, we don't really export a lot of stuff anymore. We're just importing all our fucking goods. We exported all our manufacturing. Like, this country is tanking out, but we're so surrounded by lavishness in this country. Like, we don't see how fast we're spiraling down, and other people are becoming economic powers and military powers. And once the rest of the world really says, look, America, we don't want to use your dollar anymore for oil. We're gonna do something different, and then, like, we're screwed. So the forecasters seen this trend coming. So yeah, so right at the end, where America is dominant in oil currency, they want to have as much control over this last era as they possibly can. And I think this was their last push for these major European oil tycoons and mega America corporations and interests to control as much of this raw natural resource from the Middle East as they can before the game changes and they're not the starting team anymore and they're sitting on the bench, you know. All that, and then so the oil and resource is like, that's core central. But yeah, they say, oh well, we're bringing in democracy and we're fighting terrorism and all these other things and globalization, and it's like, yeah, we know what you're doing and we know how it started and we know why, because you're dwindling in power, so you want to continue to go into these places and destabilize them. And this is the colonization part. When you go into a country after you bomb it, and now you're sending all these troops in there to restabilize the area, you're going to build permanent military installations. Boom, America, we're here to stay. We're going to rebuild this. But why you need all these military installations, yo? They got like 216 of these things all around the world, everywhere. And that's how they try to keep their mark, by setting a little piece of army there. And if America, that's the only way I would say that America is not an empire, is if we didn't have all these military bases in other countries, and no country has a military base in our homeland. Like China just can't come over here and put a military base somewhere like at the border of Mexico. That was the whole the Cuban Missile Crisis, when Russia was trying to get some missiles on Cuba, and America was like, that's too close. But you got 200 plus military bases everywhere else, but nobody can't have nothing close to yours. That's an empire, and because you're using military rule to maintain control and dominance. And so yeah, it's basically all the way back to colonization, yo. The U.S. has colonized the world. Western ideology, Western culture is dominant, but the power is slowly slipping, yo. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. But Eric, there's like the small group of people wanting to control all of the resources. It's like it's not fair. It's not fair. Why? Why must it be that way? Why you gotta have $1 trillion and somebody else ain't got nothing? I mean, you got $100 million. It's like, to do what? I own all of this land. For what? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Great Britain, you know what I'm saying? That's what I said, man. Hey, England ain't nothing but America's daddy, parents. That's all it is. And that's crazy. It's like the child done grew up so fast and then got too big for his britches, and now the child act like they control everything. You know what I'm saying? Act like they control every goddamn thing. Then forget where the fuck they come from. You know? We living in some strange times. Like this period in history will be pivotal. The end of marijuana prohibition is going to probably be the end of the U.S. dollar as a standard oil exchange. We're looking at the fourth industrial revolution, where we're on the verge of having like AI completely surrounding us everywhere, yo. It's almost like another turn of the century scenario. And so much shit is changing right now, yo. Bozy, what's up? Exactly. Blue collar, white collar, it don't matter what kind of shirt you wear. Color of your shirt don't matter, man. Some people just got way too much though. But that's how the system's set up though. And that's some of the things I can agree with when you listen to Marx. When you listen to Karl Marx and some of the things he was trying to say. All right, let's see what are they going to say that the secret is? Because I've done a lot of research on 9/11, a lot, like dozens of hours. I've given a lecture on it. So what's secret?
Council discussed the invocation of Article 5 on September 12, 2001, is no small matter. It had never been invoked in the history of NATO up to that point, and its invocation would commit NATO forces to whatever war the U.S. launched in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. But who directed those 9/11 attacks?
Article 5? I thought that's what got NATO involved in 96 when Clinton, that was 96 when Clinton And NATO has some kind of agreement for NATO and U.S. joint troops to go, joint forces to fly some damn bombs over goddamn Kosovo, and they bombed Kosovo over some Kurdish shit. I can't really remember how that went, yo. But people don't remember, like, because it wasn't like no all out warfare, but like even Clinton dropped bombs. Like every president dropped bombs, yo. But they did it in such a way that NATO got involved on it. Cause I don't know. I think they was trying to take the dude Slobodan Milosevic. They was trying to take him out. But now they saying I don't know. This was the first time Article 5 was invoked.
That was the question, and, as Lord Robertson indicated, it would require the U.S. to demonstrate that the attack was directed from abroad. On October 2nd, 2001, the U.S. government's official answer to that question was provided by Ambassador Frank Taylor, the United States Department of State Coordinator for Counterterrorism. On that day, Taylor briefed the North Atlantic Council on al-Qaeda's alleged connection to the events of 9/11.
I know it was in like the mid-late 90s.
This morning, the United States briefed the North Atlantic Council on the results of their investigation into who was responsible for the horrific terrorist attacks which took place on the 11th of September. The briefing addressed the events of 11th September themselves, the results of the investigation so far, what is known about Osama bin Laden and the Al-Qaeda organization and their involvement in the attacks and in previous terrorist activity, and the links between Al-Qaeda and the Taliban regime in Afghanistan. The facts are clear and compelling. The information presented points conclusively to an Al-Qaeda role in the 11th of September attacks.
So clear and compelling was Taylor's briefing that the Council agreed to invoke Article 5 and commit NATO's forces to the U.S. government's war of terror.
On the basis of this briefing, it has now been determined that the attack against the United States of America on the 11th of September was directed from abroad and shall therefore be regarded as an action covered by Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, which states that an armed attack on one or more of the allies in Europe or North America shall be considered as an attack against them all. I want to reiterate
Article 5
yet again today that the United States of America shall be considered as an action covered by Article 5 of the Washington Treaty, which states that an armed attack on one or more of the allies in Europe or North America shall be considered as an attack against them all. I want to reiterate yet again today that the United States of America can rely on the full support of its 18 NATO allies in the campaign against international terrorism.
And, just like that, NATO...
And just like that, they show you how they have a monopoly on violence. Oh, you hit them, Article 5 says it's like you attacked all of us. All the white nations will rise up and crush the infidels. That shit crazy. That is true. That's a true monopoly on violence. Everybody's busting on that Macy's ad. The tweeters on your page. Y'all ain't see that Macy's ad? Yo, just look it up. You could probably, I don't know, Google it or YouTube it by now. But it's yo, Casey, what's good? You had an argument with a vet about throwing a Kaepernick tantrum. Well, I just posted something on my Facebook. I thought it was too good. Dave Chappelle on TMZ.
Sunday, you ain't watching football or anything later on?
Oh, I don't watch football.
No team?
No. Wait a minute.
Oh, okay. All right. That's Sunday, you ain't watching football or anything later on?
Oh, I don't watch football.
No team?
No. Wait a minute.
Oh, okay. All right. That's Sunday, you ain't watching football or anything later on?
I don't watch football. No team or nothing. No. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta tie my shoe. Let me find out he took a knee real quick. The motherfucker got down, took a knee real quick on their ass. It's Sunday, you ain't watching the game. I don't watch no football, bro. I don't watch football. I never watch football anyway. Like I really don't see the fascination in it. I've never played on a team. Never. For anything. Never played a sport. Never played a team sport in my life. I don't get it. I never got it. I don't understand sports. It's just something that doesn't resonate with me. I don't know, sports are the weirdest thing, you know. But I kind of understand it, you know. And if that's your thing, hey, bro, more power to you. I just always say, look, I'm an artist, not an athlete. That's it. And some athletes aren't artists. And then you got people who like arts and sports, and that's what that is, you know what I'm saying? But I can't do the sports, man. I have not learned how to tweet properly. Me neither. I'll hardly be on that tweeting. I can't hardly mess with that tweeting stuff, man. Yeah, but I did learn how to do. I've been doing this right here. I got this one little app now that can help me do like. Time-lapse videos. So I've made a couple of time lapse videos. They're pretty cool.
Distinguished President, my distinguished friend, President Putin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to greet each and every one of you with my heartfelt feelings.
I don't know. I'll watch some kind of fighting events every once in a while, but that really don't get me hyped either. You know, going in there, you know, just seeing two men thrash each other away, and then the thing is like, even with fighting events, I like UFC. You know what I'm saying? I like it in highlights though. I like the highlights. I don't want to have to sit through a whole match. Even with football games. You know what I'm saying? Do I really care who won? Not really. But if you show me the highlights, show me the best tackles, the best passes and catches, and I can watch like 2 minutes of that, and I'd be like, oh shit, that shit was cool as fuck, yo, that ain't. And then that's about it. That's about as long as you can hold my attention span with sports, man. You know what I'm saying? Just some highlights, like a boxing match, like when Mayweather fought Pacquiao. I ain't care to watch that. I know Sports Center was gonna have like 2-3 minutes of highlights the next day, and I can just like oh, and the whole time Mayweather like this. It only took me 2 minutes to watch that, you know. Sports is But a documentary, I'm not gonna watch a 3-hour documentary. Am I gonna learn something from this? Really? Word? Let me sit down and get comfortable and prepare myself for this knowledge. You know? There ain't but so many ways you can punch somebody in their face. It's just who can do it the fastest, the hardest, and first. That's like Mike Tyson said. Everybody got a plan until you punch him in the face. He said he got a plan, and his plan was the way you. Everybody got a plan until you punch him in the face. They're not a part of the gladiator cage culture. That's it, man. Fighting is, I don't know. I would watch a whole UFC match before I watch a whole football game or a whole basketball game. I would rather watch that shit. Like two people who have totally honed their skills in whatever style of attack and self-defense they choose to use, and you go in this fucking octagon and it's you and one other man. Y'all gotta battle this shit out. Somebody gonna tap out or dislocate something or get knocked out. Sports, on the other hand, it's like a bunch of people, only like 2 or 3 of them are really popular, and they running back and forth. That's all soccer. Tennis. basketball, football. That shit, all that shit the same, bro. All that shit the same. Back this way, this way. Let's go this way. Let's go this way. I got the ball. Oh, they got the ball. And then you only know LeBron James and that other guy, Green. You know? But when you in a fight and it's just two motherfuckers fighting, oh, you know who fighting each other because it's only two of them. And they gotta go for the gusto. They ain't got a whole team, a whole gang backing their ass up with what they trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I be watching some basketball highlights. These cats pass that ball about 5-6 times. Who passing me? Passing him. Passing him. We gotta get it to the good guy who can shoot this thing. Pass to the good player. And then he shoot. And then the other team get a rebound. And they go running back down the other way. Oh, man. And basketball is supposed to be like the default black guy sport. Like every black man is supposed to like basketball. Because when I say I don't like sports, the next response that most people say is, not even basketball? Is basketball a sport? Last time I heard it was a sport. I said I don't like sports. Not even basketball? No, not even basketball. No. I don't have a license. I can't drive no cars. Not even a front wheel drive? No, no kind of car. You know? Yo, hot sauce, because they made it entertaining. They had flair. It's like the new generation of the Harlem Globetrotters. Who wouldn't like to watch that? You know what I'm saying? That shit was funny. They had cartoons about that. You know what I'm saying? I used to love that, man. Hey, they got down, Harlem Globetrotters got down with Scooby-Doo and the gang and all that stuff. That's all hot sauce and them boys was. It was like the new age, except it was, I don't know. It was like how skateboarding had changed. You know how like the early days of skateboarding, people was doing like all the kind of tricks on the skateboards and stuff. And then them Thrasher boys came in and started skateboarding inside swimming pools and stuff. And everybody's like, what the heck? And that's kind of how it was. Like the Harlem Globetrotters, like they had some cool moves, but then Hot Sauce and Half Man, Half Amazing came in and this dude put the ball inside his shirt and spun it around in his shirt. And you like, how you even think to do that? Like, I mean, you put it in your shirt and it went all the way around your shirt and come out. Did you just dribble that ball with your knee? I think I gotta rewind that. I think he just dribbled the ball with his knee one time. Like, who does that? Yo, D1, what up? Them N1 takes was, yo, they came through my town way back in the day, yo. My cousin played against them. Got devastated. But he played, though. I think it was on like a recruitment tour or something like that. But it was like just the N1 pickup games that came to the high school. Or is it, no, they came to the rec center. Alright, let's see where we're at on this piece. Oh, we never finished listening to that thing we were just listening to. What we started out with? Oh, some 9/11 stuff. Or, when, not specifically 9/11, but they're saying what was the secret that caused the Afghan war. But, here now, we're going to... It's like I got lashes in both of my eyes. What the heck? We're gonna work on the tattoo here. He has some more tattoos on this arm. We're gonna put some detailing on the gun. Oh, that's so wet. That's so wet. No sports. So after I kind of finish wrapping up this, the painting in the painting, it's gonna have to sit for a while until the red gets dry enough for me to put some graphics back there. But yeah, I'm just down to this little section here. I want to add some bright white to some of the cloth area here and brighten those up. And then I just got to let it dry a little bit. So I'll be working on something else probably tomorrow. Yo, thanks, bro. Yeah, I've been putting some time in on this piece. Oh wow, really? You guys probably can't see it, but I can. Right where I barely tapped that thing, and I left a fingerprint. I barely even touched you. This camera's acting super sensitive, like dang. Oh, you hurt me. Ow. Ow. You touched me right there. Like, I barely touched that thing. Oh my God. I can never get a good light in this crazy studio. You can tell this was an older picture because with his shirt off you can see all his tattoos, but he doesn't have that tattoo there in this photograph. This photograph must be much later. He added a few more tattoos. That 333. Yo, somebody was saying something about vampire and the clan, the Ku Klux Klan and that shit or something. So you come across some Klan members. I'm like, I can't wait to find them over. Yo, but I just got back from off the one of the little islands off the coast of Cuba or some way, man. We done tried to rob the bank in St. Denis, man. Hop on the boat. We trying to stall on the boat, get away. We done bribed the captain and everybody. Everything all cool, you know what I'm saying? The boat sank. Really? Come on, man. Man, we get washed up some way next to Cuba, trying to free some slaves. They get back to the States. and immediately, the bounty hunters on me. Yo, like the last 2 hours of the game I played, yo, it was like action. I was like, oh my god, yo. Yeah, I'm telling you, the clans, like that vampire, that clan, they something else too, man. Like a time traveler. I think I ran into the time traveler, and you can tell like something different about him, but. And he tell you to take a picture of something, but then I was looking at somebody else's thing, and it was like, oh, this dude a time traveler. And it's like, what? I already talked to that dude, and the thing is, like, oh, man. Don't do that. Don't say that, Danger. But the thing is, like, even Arthur realized something was wrong with him because of the language he used. He talking about, don't be jazzed, and I gotta talking about jazzed and hip to it, and my old lady think I'm on the hooch and something, and I gotta take a lay down, but I don't know, he was saying like words and phrases that weren't really common that everybody else in the game wasn't saying, and Arthur was like, you gotta do what? And you need to do, huh? And like I was like, yeah, he's talking kind of strange. He is kind of using like catchphrases you would probably hear from like the 20s or something, or slang that you would hear from like the 20s. And it's not far ahead because the game is happening in 1899 or something like that. And so, like, it was confusing when you come across this guy at this cabin, and he's talking really weird. He's talking really fast. He has on, like, his sweater is kind of different, and his pants look a little bit different. And he's just talking different than everybody else. And then I read something else. It's like, this dude he's a time traveler. It's like, what? They all kind of stuff in that game, yo. So, vampires, time travelers, the clan. Yo, this game is so fun. It's so fun. I say, I'll be feeling so bad when I play the game. Like, the other thing for a couple hours. Well, I haven't left the house in a few days, yo. I've been working on a lot of stuff, like paperwork. It's weird, yo. I haven't done, like, it feels like I'm taking a class right now. Like I'm in school. I haven't done so much paperwork in so long and filled out so much stuff and had to write down so much stuff and look up so much stuff. It's like, Jesus. Almost burnt out. I literally, let me see, yesterday, I left the house Saturday. Well, I do leave the house almost every day. I go to the gym almost every morning. But after that, bro, I don't leave the house. I went to the art auction on Saturday. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff in that game. Yo, what's up, guys? Art challenge giveaway. Let me see if I can come up with a good question real quick. Let me see if I can see it first, because you know it's always something doing pertaining to the art. Let me see. Oh my damn. Why can't I find that picture? Dun dun dun. Alright, I might have to change the question. It's weird that I don't have that on my list of art. I might have to repost that then. Oh no, there it is. Nah, I think that might be too hard. Like some of my art, like the stuff I write so small, you actually have to see it in person. Ooh. Alright. I may have a challenge question. This one is going to be good too, I think. Let me see if I can word this right so everybody can understand exactly what I'm asking of you. Okay, guys. Oh, the crowd just got smaller. Well, well, well. Let's see if we can get some participants on Facebook. Probably hold out for like 2-3 minutes just to see. I normally like to do a challenge when there's at least 10 or 12 people in there, so more people have a chance of winning. Yo, what's up, Captain? Oh, all right, guys, you ready for a challenge? Ready to win some free art? I think I have a pretty good question. Still gonna wait for a few people. Let's see if we can get some people in here. I haven't done. Well, I did just recently do a giveaway challenge, like maybe a month ago. So feeling generous. I'm gonna do an art quiz challenge giveaway for a free drawing. So if you guys ever seen some of my drawings, I do give them away for free every once in a while to people who can answer questions correctly. What's up, guys? Alright, so we have a few people between YouTube and Facebook. There's a few people in here. So in order to answer this challenge, you're going to have access to my my photos for my art. So you will have to cycle through my art to find the clues and answers for this challenge. I would advise everybody to go to my Instagram page. My Instagram is mostly art, and you won't have to sift through too much other stuff that's not art related. So if you guys do want to participate in the challenge, if you think you can answer the question, make sure you have access to my Instagram right by you. All right. Yo. Lulu. All right, guys. Here's the challenge for you. So on my Instagram, I did 3 pictures for the phone book challenge, or book phone challenge, however you want to say it. Are you guys familiar with that? Do you guys know what that is? It's for smart people, basically. Most of the nerds who watch me on YouTube is for guys like you. So there's always this money phone challenge where people hold up like wads of cash next to their ear like it's a phone. But like smart people do it with books instead of money. So I have 3 pictures of me doing the book phone challenge. One picture has 11 books that I'm holding. Are you guys listening close to this? One of the pictures in my book phone challenge has 11 books that I'm holding. How many of those books have I not incorporated into my reader series? There is a picture of me on my Instagram. I'm holding 11 books. How many of those books have I not incorporated into my reader series? Whoever answers the question first can send me a selfie. I will draw that selfie of you and send it to you free as a gift. As a gift. Once again, you should have access to my Instagram. There is a picture of me doing the phone book challenge. I'm holding 11 books. How many of those books have I not incorporated into my reader series? This ought to be good. This should be good. Ooh. Who's gonna get it first? Who's gonna get it first? First. Can you figure it out? Da 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 da. Who's gonna get it first? Who's gonna get it first? Just the numbers. How many? Ba da 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 da. Who's gonna get it first? I need something to draw too. Who's gonna figure it out first? Will it be you? Will it be you? Ooh, it's so easy. The answer's so easy. It's right in front of your eyes. It's right in front of your eyes. Who's gonna figure it out first? While you guys do that, I will. Have I been here for an hour? Oh, I've already been in here for an hour, yo. That means I gotta start painting. While these guys try to figure out this quiz challenge question of the day. If you're gonna stick around for a little bit longer, definitely come over to the YouTube channel. We're gonna be live on YouTube for another couple hours, and we're gonna continue to work on this commission. Catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Connected to iPhone.
It's very subjective that we base our nutritional choices on how pretty or how cute an animal is. You know, it doesn't make sense. You know, and we're lucky now. We're able to choose what we eat. You know, like it wasn't like that 100 years ago. You know, the purpose of the food guide until like 40 years ago was to make sure you had enough calories. Now we're in an age of risk.
Say like, I don't want horse, I prefer deer, or I prefer veal, or I had chicken yesterday, I can't have twice in a row. like all this is a bit of fluff what we do in a way because we're so fortunate to have enough food to decide.
My friend Remy Warren was on a backpacking horseback elk hunt, and one of the horses fell down and broke its leg, and they had to make a decision. They were deep in the backcountry and they had to shoot it, and it just wasn't going to get out of there. And after they shot it, he decided that really it sounds going to go to waste. So they took the back straps off and they cooked it and ate it. And he said it was a really weird moment where like this is an animal that was like everybody's petting it and it was you're riding it and it was a working animal, but it was an animal that you loved. And then all of a sudden it's down and you have to kill it. And he's like, well, it's going to go to waste. He said it just felt wrong to let it go to waste, so they cut the back straps off of it.
You know, the reason I think we don't eat horse culturally is really based ultimately on the Battle of Wolfe between Montcalm on the plains of Quebec City. That was a decisive battle in North American history, whereas if the French had won that battle, everybody in North America ultimately would be speaking French. You know, they didn't win that battle. So British rule imposed. So in England, you didn't eat horse by royal decree. But if the French ate horse, the Belgians eat horse, the Germans eat horse. You see? So
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's very old history.
You know, it was mining. It was
just
a mining.
verboten in Anglophone world to eat horse.
And in all the mining countries, half my family's from Belgium, and it's traditional there because they bring the horse in the mine. The horse, you know, it's sad for a horse to live in the mine in the dark, but they wouldn't bring it out when he was old. You know, they would just eat the horse.
Most cultures eat Turkish eat horse. You know.
Well, it was a necessity. I mean,
so
you
close,
pick
bro.
and choose back when all this was instituted.
We're very limited in the proteins that we eat, especially in North America. Quebec.
Bro, you're so close, bro. I'm gonna have to get it to you because ain't nobody else even got it, bro. Ain't nobody else even trying. Anybody else want to give it a shot? Now you can blow this up pretty good right here on Instagram. Okay, that's not a bad picture. That's not a bad picture. All right, see. I'm gonna have to give it to D1. I'm gonna give it one more shot. Now, that's a long time ago, ain't it? I done took over the third room. Like we just had 2 extra bedrooms. I was like, screw that living room, man. I done took over this room up here, added some lights and stuff. It's my studio now. But yo, here's the question one more time. I gotta add an extra layer on it too because D1 came so close. So here, one more time now. All right, D1 get the prize. On my Instagram, I did a phone book challenge. And one of the pictures, I'm holding 11 books. 11 books. How many of these books have I not incorporated into my reader series? And what's the titles? Because now somebody just gonna guess a number and probably get it. But I need the titles. I'm holding 11 books. How many have not been in my reader series? And what are the titles? If you can answer that, you get a free drawing. If nobody can't answer that, D1 get a free drawing. D1, he get you. I keep telling you and you, Boozy, and Art, y'all gotta get me y'all addresses. I owe y'all some prints anyway. Holoco 77. What's up, man? All right, I'm ready to start painting, but I think I might go grab a drink real quick. While y'all ponder over this question one more time. This is the last time I'm gonna say it. You gotta be on my Instagram. My Instagram is listed right here, so don't say you don't know what my Instagram is. On my Instagram, there's a picture of me doing the phone book challenge. I'm holding 11 books. How many of those books have not been in my reader series? And what are the titles? If you answer that question, you get a free drawing, and I'll send it to you for free.
This is Dr. Gunter Zuma.
And see, that's why y'all, those are the people who get prints. That's why I gotta get y'all boys some kind of art, man. Y'all been rocking with me for too long. Y'all can have, I need something in the crib, like, yo, that my nigga, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta have your own little piece, a little signed piece, man. Y'all gotta get me y'all addresses and figure out what piece y'all want me to print up for y'all.
It was a working animal, but it was an animal that you loved. And then all of a sudden it's down and you have to kill it. And he's like, well, it's going to go to waste. So it just felt wrong to let it go to waste. So they cut the backstraps off of it.
You know, the reason I think we don't eat horse culturally is really based ultimately on the Battle of Wolfe between Montcalm on the plains of Quebec City. That was a decisive battle in North American history. Whereas if the French had won that battle, everybody in North America ultimately would be speaking French. You know, they didn't win that battle. So British rule imposed. So in England, you didn't eat horse by royal decree. But the French ate horse, the Belgians eat horse, the Germans eat horse. You see? So
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's very old history.
You know, it was mining. It was
just
a mining.
verboten in an Anglophone world to eat horse.
And in all the mining countries, half my family's from Belgium, and it's traditional there because they bring the horse in the mine. The horse, you know, it's sad for a horse to live in the mine in the dark, but they wouldn't bring it out when he was old. You know, they would just eat the horse.
Most cultures eat Turkish eat horse. You know.
Well, it was a necessity. I mean,
yeah.
you couldn't pick and choose back when all this was instituted.
We're very limited in the proteins that we eat, especially in North America. Quebec less so. You know, Quebec is a very open-minded dining public, very advanced dining public, very old dining public, and of course Latin, French dining public. The amount of proteins that are served in a Montreal restaurant are numerous compared to, let's say, even when I go to Manhattan. If me and you and Fred are in Manhattan tomorrow night, said, let's go have rabbit with mustard sauce, it's going to be a tough sell. We're going to really struggle to find rabbit with mustard sauce. We're going to struggle even to find, let's go have a couple slices of liver tonight with onions. It's going to be very difficult to sell in New York City. Lamb neck, lamb
Kidneys.
liver. Deer is a hard, tall order. Ultimately, Manhattan or America eats a limited scope of proteins, beef, chicken, so forth. Whereas, French culture, Quebec, we have all the proteins. I have young dining clientele that have no problem eating kidneys medium rare, liver, lamb liver, deer neck, deer heart tartare. It's not a thing. Like, it's not what other restaurant people are eating.
It's just part of the registry,
Little girls, like...
You got it, D. You got it, D. What? Yeah, I'm holding 11 books, but I only have used 8 of them so far. There's 3 books by Dr. Amos Wilson that I haven't painted yet. And that's The Falsification of the African Mind. Garveyism in the Age of Globalism, and Blueprint for Black Power are the 3 books that I'm holding, but they are not in my reader series. Out of that 11, 8 of them I have already used in my art in some capacity. But yeah, the 3 that are not currently in my reader series, all 3 of them are Dr. Amos Wilson books. Not the last reader series I finished, but the one before the last was the first time I painted a Dr. Amos Wilson book, and I think I am going to do Blueprint for Black Power as well. But I think I want a girl holding that book as well. Because I have a guy holding his first book, Black on Black Violence. So I have a girl hold his second and greatest book. And see how that comes out. If I can find a nice dark-skinned chick with dreads and hold that book, Blueprint for Black Power, that shit would be powerful. That'd be a powerful image, you know? Yo, D1, just send me a picture, bro, so I can get started on your drawing. But this shit right here is so good. This is like apple juice champagne. Champagne. It's amazing. You know, that's what I keep saying. The only thing about these gloves, I like how they don't make your hands sweat. They're easy to come off and on. But you can't operate the touch features on your digital devices with those cloth gloves on. But if you're wearing latex gloves, you can still work the functions on your touch screen through the gloves itself. And so that's the reason I put these on sometimes. What about a white girl with a book on white power? I'll save that for some other artists. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of white artists out there who know tons and tons of white models and probably have a library with those books in it. But for me, and what I'm trying to do is just a little bit different. I just kind of focus on black people and black literature for the most part. And so it's kind of a theme that I'm working with. It's that concept that I just want to stick with. You know, like black people reading books by black people. But these 2 books right here are actually European authors. So you have James and Joe, and they're white authors, but they are also delving into the historical systematic system of racism and suppression in this country. And other books like this by the very intelligent dude, man, Dr. Claude Anderson, his book Powernomics, the National Plan to Empower Black America. And you know, so my reader series is basically just kind of focusing on a certain demographics. But if you want to paint a white girl holding a book on white power, shit, that should probably be hot. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody need power. You know what I'm saying? Everybody need power. That's the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Brown power for brown people. You know what I'm saying? Yellow power for yellow people. White power for white people. And black power for black people. Ain't nothing wrong with that shit. Shit, everybody gotta have power. It just need to be equally distributed. That's all. You know? And some people are powerless. So I try to focus on the people that are powerless, which just happen to be my demographics. Go figure. And I try to give them information and visual images that empower them. So, you know, yeah. Call me romantic or whatever. What, did I haven't painted? Or yeah. Message?
With the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said, with the last words on my lips, that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world.
We have brought to trial here Fred Hampton. You are here to judge between two conflicting testimonies. Somebody is lying. Now, reason stands. Reason is very clear here. That Private Jones, who had come from Sanford, North Carolina, but
power anywhere where there's people. Power, observation, and participation.
Yo, I can't find that one little Fred Hampton speech, yo. There's one snippet they took from his speech where he says it, yo. Lame race, baby. You know what I'm saying? Yo, power to all people, yo. To all people. Yeah, white power to white people too. I don't want you to be unempowered. Everybody needs to be empowered.
We work with anybody from coalition, with anybody that has revolution on their mind. We're not a racist organization because we understand that racism is an excuse used for capitalism. And we know that racism is a byproduct of capitalism. Everything would be all right if everything was put back in the hands of the people. And we're going to have to put it back in the hands of the people. Now, we say all power to all people. We say white power to white people. Brown power to brown people. Yellow power to yellow people. Black power to black people. X power to those that we left out. We say Panther power to the Vanguard Party. We say white power to white people. It would be all right if everything was put back in the hands.
Now this is one of the leaders of the Black Panther Party from Chicago. You know what they did to this man? To this man right here. You say just put the power back in the hands of the people. They murdered him, assassinated him in his sleep, in his bed, kicked his door in, and shot him to death in his own bed. That's how scared they was of this dude, yo. Terrified. Why? Because he said white power to white people.
Hands of the people. And we're going to have to put it back in the hands of the people. Now, we say all power to all people. We say white power to white people. Brown power to brown people. Yellow power to yellow people. Black power to black people. X power to those that we left out. We say counter power to the Vanguard Party.
Woo, that Vanguard Party, boy, about the power.
Before you go to bed, night, I am a revolutionary. Make that the last word. In case you don't wake up, then somebody might believe it, and you might, end up in what they call a revolutionary happy hunting ground. Say that. I am a revolutionary. They're constantly bothering people. Anybody that's out there for the protection of the people happens to be in direct conflict with them. What makes them mad about it? What makes them mad about it is that they have black people and white poor people and red poor people and Puerto Rican poor people and Latin American Puerto Rican people of our poor people of all descent. They had caught up in movements based on racism when the Black Panther Party stood up and said that we don't care what anybody says. We don't think you fight fire with fire fists, we think you fight fire with water fists. We're going to fight racism, not racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hanrahan with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reactions with all of us people to get together and have an international proletarian revolution. Right on. And that's saying all power to the people. That's saying that no matter what color you are, you belong to two classes. And that's saying there's a class over here and there's a class over there. And the reason that this class over here has never did anything to get this class off its back, because this is lower, this is upper, this is the oppressed, this is the oppressor, this is the exploited, this is the exploiter. And these people in this class have divided themselves. They say, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate black people. I'm Latin American and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Indians. So we fight amongst each other. And you've heard the testimony of pigs here, and you got pigs of all colors, you know that. You got pigs that are white, you got pigs that are black, you even got pigs that are black and white. So we always say in the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back, I might be in jail, I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world. We know they have our pictures. We know they're looking for us. We know they want us. But we're still saying that even though we could be in a spirit, as far as this system goes, on the mountaintop, we in the Black Panther Party, because of our dedication and understanding what's in the valley, knowing that the people in the valley, knowing that we originally came from the valley, knowing that our flag is the same flag as the people in the valley, knowing that our enemy is on the mountaintop, our friends are in the valley. We say even though it's nice to be on the mountaintop, we're going back to the valley. I want you to know that I want you to say, if you ever think about me, and if you think about me, niggas, and you ain't gonna do no revolutionary act, forget about me. I don't want myself on your mind if you're not gonna work for the people. Like we always did, if you actually make the commitment at the age of 20, and you say, I don't want to make that commitment, because of different reasons I'm too young to die, I want to live a little bit longer. What you did, you did already. You have to understand that people have to pay the price for peace. If you dare to struggle, you dare to win. If you dare not to struggle, then goddamn it, you don't deserve to win. Let me say peace to you if you're willing to fight for it. Let me say it in the spirit of liberation. I've been gone for a little while. At least my body's been gone. You ain't got to repeat after me. At least my body's been gone for a little while. But I'm back now, and I believe that I'm back to stay. I believe that I'm going to do my job, and I believe that I was born not to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die in a car wreck. I don't believe I'm going to die from slipping on a piece of ice. I don't believe I'm going to die because I got a bad heart. I don't believe I'm going to die because of lung cancer. I believe that I'm going to be able to die what I was in the things I was born for. I believe that I'm going to be able to die high off the people. I believe that I will be able to die as a revolutionary in the international revolutionary proletarian struggle. And I hope that each one of you will be able to die in the international proletarian revolutionary struggle and be able to live in it. And I think that struggle is going to come. Why don't you live for the people? Why don't you struggle for the people? Why don't you die for the people?
Yeah, they assassinated him, bro. Now, when a black man get too many people to repeat after him, well, you got to do something about that. Oh my God, he got these people chanting. What they chanting? Power to the people. Power to the people. Where that nigga live at? Hello? 4th precinct? The 4th district precinct? Yeah, we got something for y'all to do. Yeah, a little bit of wet works. Yeah, a guy named Fred Hampton. Yeah. No, we won't need no paperwork. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Power to the people, my ass. You can't, black man can't do that, bro. That's power. That's now, you can talk about voting and all this, but that don't mean nothing. Now, I'll be trying to tell people, man, you can't get people to chant after you. That's organization. That's leadership. That's leadership. They kill the leaders. When you can have an articulate, educated organizer who's able to communicate to the masses the sense and urgency to come together and unify. Boy, that's dangerous. That is dangerous to the system. And psychologically, it has scared us for so many decades that we don't put our youth out there to become these leaders anymore. And the game and society has changed where it's hard to even, like incubate an environment that's conducive to producing a personality like that. Now everything is just trap music and skinny jeans and gay shit. You're not going to get a Malcolm X out of that shit. You're not going to get a Stokely Carmichael out of that. You're not going to get a Fred Hampton out of trap music. You're not. Hell, we barely got any decent leaders out of my generation. But that was in the 60s. They tried to stomp it all out. They snuffed out everything, yo. Snuffed it all out, yo. That's it, bro. Take out the leaders and feed them some poison. Take out the leaders and feed them some poison. Take out the leaders and feed them some poison. Take out the leaders. Take out the leaders. Take out the leaders and feed them some poison. They take out the leaders that fill us. They take out the leaders that fill us with poison. They trying to delete us. I hear all the noises. Ooh. Take out the leaders and feed them with poison. Take out the leaders and feed them with poison. They take out our leaders and feed us with poison. They take out our leaders and feed us with poison. They want to delete us. They want to delete us. They want to delete us. I hear all their noises. Want to delete us. I hear all their noises. They take out the leaders and feed us that poison. They want to delete us. I hear all their noises. Take out the leaders. They take out the leaders. They take out the leaders. Then feed them that poison. They take out the leaders. They take out the leaders. They take out the leaders. And feed them that poison. Take out the leaders and feed them that poison. Take out the leaders and feed them that poison. Feed them that poison. What happened to Fred Hampton? That nigga got shot. What happened to Dr. King? That nigga got shot. What happened to Medgar Evers? That nigga got shot. What happened to Malcolm X? Well, we already know. Never mind.
But if you do have cars that are semi-autonomous now, and if you do have computers that can beat human beings who are world Go champions, and if you do have computers that can beat people at chess, and you do have people that are consistently working on artificial intelligence, and you do have Boston Dynamics who are getting these robots to do all sorts of spectacular physical stunts, and then you think about the possible future convergence of all these technologies, and then you think about the possibility of this exponential increase in technology that allows them to be sentient, like within a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. What more evidence do you need? You're seeing all the building blocks of a potential successor being laid out in front of you, and you're seeing what we do with every single aspect of technology. We constantly and consistently improve and innovate, right? With everything, whether it's computers or cars or anything. Everything today is better than everything that was 20 years ago. So if you looked at artificial intelligence, which does exist to a certain extent, and you look at what it could potentially be 30, 40, 50 years from now, whatever it is, why wouldn't you look at all these data points and say, hey, this could go bad? I mean, it could go great, but it could also go bad.
I do not want to be mistaken as the person who's not the champion of the impossible. I agree with you completely.
I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible at all. I think it's inevitable.
I think it is inevitable, yes. It's the Sam Harris argument. If superintelligence is nothing more than information processing, same as the argument of the simulation, that we're living in a simulation. It's very difficult to argue against the fact that we're living in a simulation. The question is when, and what the world will look like.
Right.
So it's, like I said, a race, and it's difficult. You have to balance those two minds. I agree with you totally, and I disagree with my fellow robotics folks who don't want to think about it at all.
Of course they don't. They want to buy new houses. Yeah. They got a lot of money invested in this adventure. They want to keep the party rolling. They don't want to pull the brakes. Hey, everybody, pull the cords out of the walls. We got to stop. No one's going to do that. No one's going to come along and say, hey, we've run all this data through a computer, and we found that if we just keep going the way we're going, in 30 years from now, we will have a successor that will decide that human beings are outdated and inefficient and dangerous to the actual world that we live in, and we're going to start wiping them out.
But that's not.
It doesn't exist right now. It doesn't exist right now. But if that did happen, if someone did come to the UN and had this multi-stage presentation with data that showed that if we continue on the path we have 7 years before artificial intelligence decides to eliminate human beings based on these data points. What do they do? What do the Boston Dynamics people do? Well, I'm building a house in Cambridge. What are you talking about, man? I'm not going anywhere. Come on, I just bought a new Tesla. I need to finance this thing. Hey, I got credit card bills. I got student loans I'm still paying off. Like how do you stop people from doing what they do for a living? How do you say that, hey, I know that you would like to look at the future with rose-colored glasses on, but there's a real potential pitfall that could be the extermination of the human species. Right. And obviously I'm going way far with this.
Yeah, I like it. I think every one of us trying to build these systems are similar in sound to the way you were talking about the touch of death. In that my dream, and the dream of many roboticists, is to create intelligent systems that will improve our lives. And working really hard at it. Not for a house in Cambridge, not for $1 billion for selling a startup paycheck. We love this stuff.
Some of you. Obviously, the motivations are different for every single human being that's involved in every endeavor.
So, and we're trying really hard to build these systems, and it's really hard. So whenever the question is, well, this is going to look at historically, it's going to take off. It can potentially take off any moment. It's very difficult to really be cognizant as an engineer about how it takes off, because you're trying to make it take off in a positive direction, and you're failing. Everybody is failing. It's been really hard. And so you have to acknowledge that that overnight some Elon Musk type character might come along, and people with this Boring Company or with SpaceX, people didn't think anybody but NASA could do what Elon Musk is doing, and he's doing it. It's hard to think about that too much. You have to do that, but the reality is we're trying to create these super intelligent beings.
Sure, but isn't the reality also that we have done things in the past because we were trying to do it, and then we realized that these have horrific consequences for the human race, like Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project. When he said, "I am death, destroyer of worlds," when he's quoting the Bhagavad Gita, when he's detonating the first nuclear bomb and realizing what he's done. Just because something's possible to do doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea for human beings to do it. Now, we haven't destroyed the world with Oppenheimer's discovery, and through the work of the Manhattan Project, we've managed to somehow or another keep the lid on this shit for the last 60.
Incredible.
It's crazy, right? For the last, 70 years? How long has it been?
70 sounds right. 10,000, 20,000 nukes all over the world right now.
It's crazy. We literally could kill everything on the planet.
And somehow we don't. Somehow, in some amazing way, we have not. But that doesn't mean that's a very short amount of time in relation to the actual lifespan of the Earth itself, and certainly in terms of the time human history's been around. And nuclear weapons, global warming is another one.
Sure, but that's a side effect of our actions, right? We're talking about a direct effect of human ingenuity and innovation. The nuclear bomb, it's a direct effect. We tried to make it, we made it, there it goes. Global warming's an accidental consequence of human civilization.
So you can't, I don't think it's possible to not build a nuclear bomb.
You don't think it's possible to not build it? Because people are tribal, they speak different languages, they have different desires and needs, and they were in war. So if all these engineers are working towards it, it was not possible to not build it.
Yeah, and like I said, there's something about us chimps in a large collective where we are born and push forward towards progress of technology. You cannot stop the progress of technology. So the goal is how to guide that development into a positive direction.
But surely, if we do understand that this has taken place, and we did drop these enormous bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and killed untold amounts of innocent people with these detonations, that it's not necessarily always a good thing to pursue technology.
Nobody is so...
you see what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. I agree with you totally.
So I'm more playing devil's advocate than anything. But what I'm saying is, you guys are looking at these things like we're just trying to make these things happen. And what I think people like Elon Musk and Sam Harris and a bunch of others that are gravely concerned about the potential for AI are saying is, I understand what you're doing, but you've got to understand the other side of it. You've got to understand that there are people out there that are terrified that if you do extrapolate, if you do take this, our relentless thirst for innovation and keep going with it, when you look at what we can do, what human beings can do so far in our crude manner of 2018, with all the amazing things they've been able to accomplish, it's entirely possible that we might be creating our successors. This is not outside the realm of possibility. And all of our biological limitations might be, we might figure out a better way. And this better way might be some sort of an artificial creature.
Yeah,
AI began with our dream to forge the gods. And that's, I think that it's impossible to stop.
Well, it's not impossible to stop if you go Ted Kaczynski and kill all the people. I mean, that's what Ted Kaczynski anticipated. You know, the Unabomber, do you know the whole story behind him?
No, what was he trying to stop?
He's a fascinating cat. Here's what's fascinating. There's a bunch of fascinating things about him. But one of the more fascinating things about him, he was involved in the Harvard LSD studies. Right. So they were nuking that dude's brain with acid. And then he goes to Berkeley, becomes a professor, takes all his money from teaching and just makes a cabin in the woods and decides to kill people that are involved in the creation of technology because he thinks technology is eventually going to kill off all the people. So he becomes crazy and schizophrenic, and who knows what the fuck is wrong with him, and whether or not this would have taken place inevitably or whether this was a direct result of his being literally like drowned in LSD. We don't even know how much they gave him or what the experiment entailed or how many other people's got their brain torched during these experiments. But we do know for a fact that Ted Kaczynski was a part of the Harvard LSD studies. And we do know that he went and did move to the woods and write his manifesto and start blowing up people that were involved in technology.
And the basic thesis of his manifesto that perhaps LSD opened his eyes to is that technology is going to kill all humans.
Yeah.
And so we should...
It was going to be the end of the human race, I think, I believe.
Human race, so... The solution...
You know what is that what he said? You looking at it?
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race.
Yeah, he extrapolated. He was looking at where we're going and these people that were responsible for innovation, and he was saying they're doing this with no regard for the consequences on the human race. And he thought the way to stop that was to kill people. Obviously, he's fucking demented. But this is, I mean, he literally was saying what we're saying right now. You keep going, we're fucked.
So the Industrial Revolution, we'll have to think about that. It's a really important message coming from the wrong guy, but where's all of this taking us?
Yeah, where is it taking us?
So I guess my underlying assumption is the current capitalist structure of society, that we always want a new iPhone. You said one of the best reviewers on yesterday that always talks about
Marcus,
yeah. We always, myself too, Pixel 3. I have a Pixel 2. I'm thinking, maybe I need a Pixel 3.
Maybe you do.
I don't know, better camera. You know, that, whatever that is, that fire that wants more, better.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think it's possible to stop, and the best thing we can do is to explore ways to guide it towards safety where it helps us.
When you say it's not possible to stop, you mean collectively as an organism like the human race, that it's a tendency that's just built in? It's certainly possible to stop as an individual, because I know people like my friend Ari who's given up on smartphones. He went to a flip phone and he doesn't check social media anymore, and he found it to be toxic. He didn't like it. He thought he was too addicted to it, and he didn't like where it was leading him.
Yep.
So on an individual level, it's possible.
Individual level, but then, and just like with Ted Kaczynski, on the individual level, it's possible to do certain things that try to stop it in more dramatic ways. But I just think the force of this symbiotic, this organism, that's just this living, breathing organism that is our civilization, will progress forward. We're just curious apes. It's this desire to explore the universe. Why? Why do we want to do these things? Why do we look up and we want to travel? And it's not, I don't think it's sort of, we're trying to optimize for survival. In fact, I don't think most of us would want to be immortal. I think it's like Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about. The fact that we're mortal, the fact that one day we'll die is one of the things that gives life meaning. And sort of trying to worry and trying to sort of say, wait a minute, where is this going? As opposed to riding the wave and riding the wave of forward progress. I mean, it's one of the things, he gets quite a bit of, ironically, hate for it, Steve Pinker, but he really describes in data how our world is getting better and better.
Well, he just gets hate from people that don't want to admit that there's a trend towards things getting better, because they feel like then people will ignore all the bad things that are happening right now and all the injustices, which I think is a very short-sighted thing, but I think it's because of their own their own biases and the perspective that they're trying to establish and push. Instead of looking at things objectively and looking at the data and say, I see where you're going, it doesn't discount the fact that there's injustice in the world and crime and violence and all sorts of terrible things happen to people that are good people on a daily basis. But what he's saying is just look at the actual trend of civilization and the human species itself. And there's an undeniable trend towards peace. Slowly but surely working towards peace. Way safer today than it was 1,000 years ago. It is. It just is.
Yeah, and there's these interesting arguments, which his book kind of blew my mind to this funny joke. He says that some people consider giving nuclear, the atom bomb, the Nobel Peace Prize. Because he believes, I'm not an expert in this at all, but he believes that or some people believe that nuclear weapons are actually responsible for a lot of the decrease in violence, because all of the major people who can do damage, all the Russia and all the major states who can do damage, have a strong disincentive from engaging in warfare.
Right.
And so these are the kinds of things you don't, I guess, anticipate. And so I think it's very difficult to stop that forward progress, but we have to really worry and think about, okay, how do we avoid the list of things that we worry about? So one of the things that people really worry about is the control problem. Is basically AI becoming not necessarily super intelligent, but super powerful. We put too much of our lives into it. That's where Elon Musk and others, they want to provide regulation of some sort, saying, wait a minute, you have to put some bars on what this thing can do from a government perspective, from a company perspective.
Right, but how could you stop rogue states from doing that? How could you? Why would China listen to us? Why would Russia listen to us? Why would other countries that are capable of doing this and maybe don't have the same sort of power that the United States has, and they would like to establish that kind of power, why wouldn't they just take the cap off?
In a philosophical, high-level sense, there's no reason.
Right.
But if you engineer it in, so we do this thing with autonomous vehicles called arguing machines. So we have multiple AI systems argue against each other. So it's possible that you have some AI systems over supervising other AI systems. So have in our nation, there's a Congress arguing blue and red states being represented, and there's this discourse going on, debate, and have AI systems like that too. It doesn't necessarily need to be one super powerful thing. It could be AI supervising each other. So there's interesting ideas there to play with, because ultimately, what are these artificial intelligence systems doing? We humans place power into their hands first. In order for them to run away with it, we need to put power into their hands. So we have to figure out how we put that power in initially, so it doesn't run away, and how supervision can happen.
Right, but this is us, right? You're talking about rational people. What about other people? Why would they engineer limitations into their artificial intelligence, and what incentive would they have to do that? To somehow or another limit their artificial intelligence to keep it from having as much power as ours? Yeah. There's really not a lot of incentive on their side, especially if there's some sort of competitive advantage for their artificial intelligence to be more ruthless, more sentient, more autonomous. I mean, it seems like once the genie's out of the bottle, it's going to be very hard. I have a theory, and this is a very bizarre theory, but I've been running with this for quite a few years now. I think human beings are some sort of a caterpillar, and I think we're creating a cocoon, and through that cocoon, we're going to give birth to a butterfly, and then we're going to become something. And I think whether we're going to have some sort of a symbiotic connection to these electronic things, where they're going to replace our parts, our failing parts, with far superior parts until we're not really a person anymore. Like, what was that Scarlett Johansson movie? The Ghost in the Shell? I tried to watch part of it. It's pretty stupid. But she's hot as fuck, so it kept my attention for a little bit. But in that...
Fuck you, Joe Rogan. Yeah, well, no, not fuck you, Joe Rogan. Because the live action version of Ghost in the Shell portrayed by Scarlett Johansson was crappy. But Ghost in the Shell itself, the whole concept, the movie, the series, that's my favorite anime of all times. And it explains this scenario so well back in the 90s. I mean, they were talking about this whole scenario of transhumanism, Singularity, Emergence, AGIs. It's like this whole everything that Elon Musk has been talking about for the last 10 years. Like, Ghost in the Shell was talking about it 20 years ago. And like in depth too, man. Like, I don't know, that's my favorite. And that's why I'm so stuck on this Fourth Industrial Revolution, because I've been such a fan of Ghost in the Shell for such a long time. And honestly, the way they make us think about time when it in comparison to technology is kind of weird, but now we get a better sense of just how fast technology is going. So, you know, Back to the Future, it didn't happen like the movie said it would at that certain date, but now we're actually not far from flying cars, hoverboards, not a time machine, but, you know, a lot of the technology that was presented to us, holographic advertisements, even the Back to the Future movies didn't predict the internet, you know, in apps and things like that. But virtual reality, gaming, and all kind of stuff is like, all that is here now. And it's been here for a while. When he went to Ghost in the Shell, bro, you already know. Took a nap, woke up, and everything.
They took her
still in it. That's that dedication.
Brain and put it in this artificial body that was like, had superpowers, and they basically replaced everything about her that wasn't her consciousness with these artificial parts. Like all of her frame, everything was just some new thing that was far superior. And she had these abilities that no human being will ever have. I really wonder why we have this insatiable thirst. Why can't, if we're so logical and so thoughtful in some ways, why can't we be that way when it comes to materialism? Well, I think one of the reasons why is because materialism is the main engine that pushes innovation. If it wasn't for people's desire to get the newest, latest, and greatest thing, what would fund these new TVs, cell phones, computers? Why do you really need a new laptop every year? Is it because of engineered obsolescence where the laptop dies off and you have to get a new one because they fucked you and they built a shitty machine that's designed to die so you buy a new one?
You really like iPhones, don't you?
Well, it's not even iPhones, it's a laptop.
Yeah.
Well, is it because you just see the number 2.6 gigahertz is better than 2.4? Oh, it's the new one. It has a 12 megapixel webcam instead of an 8. And for whatever reason, we have this desire to get those new things. I think that's what fuels innovation. And my cynical view of this thing that's happening is that we have this bizarre desire to fuel our demise, and that we're doing so by fueling technology, by motivating these companies to continually innovate. No, if everybody just said, you know what, man, I'm really into log cabins, and I want an axe where I can cut my own firewood, and I realize the TV's rotting my brain, I just want to read books, so fuck off. And everybody started doing that, and everybody started living, like, when it gets dark out, I'll use candles. And you know what? I'm going to get my water from a well. And you know what? I'm going to do, and I like living better that way. If people started doing that, there would be no need for companies to continually make new computers, to make new phones, to make new smartwatches, or whatever the fuck they're making, to make cars that can drive themselves. These things that we're really, really attached to, if you looked at the human organism, you somehow or another could objectively remove yourself from society and culture and all the things that make us a person, and you look at what we do. Like, what does this thing do? We found this planet. There's these little pink monkeys and brown monkeys and yellow monkeys, and what are they all into? Well, they all seem to be into making stuff. And what kind of stuff are they making? Well, they keep making better and better stuff that's more and more capable. Well, where's it going? What's going to replace them? They're going to make a thing that's better than them. They're engineering these things slowly but surely to do all the things they do, but do them better.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating theory. I mean, it's not a theory. It's a instructive way to think about intelligence in life. Period. So if you step back, look across human history, and look at Earth as an organism, and what is this thing doing? The thing is, I think in terms of scale and in terms of time, you can look that way at so many things. Like, isn't there billions or trillions of organisms on our skin right now? Mm-hmm. Both of us that have little civilizations, right? They have a different mechanism by which they operate and interact. But for us to say that we're intelligent and those organisms are not is a very narrow-sighted view. So they are operating under some force of nature that Darwin has worked on trying to understand some small elements of. This is evolutionary theory, but there's other more interesting forces at play that we don't understand.
Sure.
And there's some kind of force. It could be a fundamental force of physics that Einstein never got a chance to discover, is our desire for an iPhone update. Mm-hmm. Some fundamental force of nature, somehow gravity and the strong force and these things described by physics add up to this drive for new things, for creation. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we die, the fact that we're mortal, the fact that what desires are built into us, whether it's sexual or intellectual or whatever drives us apes, like somehow that all combines to this progress and towards what it is a compelling way to think that if an alien species did visit Earth, I think they would probably see the smartphone situation. They see how many little lights are on and how us apes are looking at them. It's possible, I think some people have said, that they would think the overlords are the phones, not the people. Mm-hmm. So to think that that's now moving into a direction where the future will be something that is beyond human or symbiotic with human in ways we can't understand is really interesting.
Not just that, but something that we're creating ourselves. And it's a main focal point of our existence.
That's our purpose.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about a main focal point, if you think about the average person, what they do, there's a great percentage of our population that has jobs where they work, and one of the ways that they placate themselves doing these things that they don't really enjoy doing is earning money for objects.
Right.
They want a new car, they want a new house, they want a bigger TV, they want a this or that, and the way they motivate themselves to keep showing up at this shitty job is to think, if I just put in 3 more months, I can get that Mercedes. If I just do this or that, I can finance this new Pixel 3. Ooh.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's sort of politicians, what's the American dream? Is for, you hear this thing, I want my children to be better off than me. Mm-hmm. This kind of desire, you can almost see that taken farther and farther there'll be a presidential candidate in 50, 100 years, they'll say, I want my children to be robots. And you know what I mean? Like, sort of this idea that that's the natural evolution, and that is the highest calling of our species. That scares me because I value my own life.
But does it scare you if it comes out perfect? Like if each robot is like a god? and each robot is beautiful and loving, and they recognize all the great parts of this existence. And they avoid all the jealousy and the nonsense and all the stupid aspects of being a person. We realize that a lot of these things are just sort of biological engineered tricks that are designed to keep us surviving from generation after generation, but now here in this fantastic new age, we don't need them anymore.
Yeah, well, first, one of the most transformative moments of my life was when I met Spot Mini in person, which is one of the legged robots from Boston Dynamics. For the first time when I met them, met that little fella, I know exactly how it works. I know exactly how every aspect of it works. It's just a dumb robot. But when I met him, and he got up, and he looked at me.
There it is right there. Have you seen it dance now?
Yeah, the dance.
Is it a new thing?
Yep.
The dance is crazy.
But see, it's not crazy on the technical side. It's crazy.
Engineered. It's obvious. It's programmed, but it's crazy to watch. Like, wow.
There's something. The reason the moment was transformative is I know exactly how it works, and yet by watching it, something about the feeling of it, you're like, this thing is alive. And there was this terrifying moment, not terrifying, but terrifying and appealing, where this is the future.
Right.
Like this thing represents some future that is totally, that we cannot understand. Just like a future in the 18th century of future with planes and smartphones was something we could understand. That this thing, that little dog could have had a human consciousness in it. That was the feeling I had. And I know exactly how it works. There's nothing close to the intelligence, but it just gives you this picture of what the possibilities are of these living creatures. And I think that's what people feel when they see Boston Dynamics. Look how awesome this thing running around is. They don't care about the technicalities and how far away we are. They see it, look, this thing is pretty human. And the possibilities of human-like things that supersede humans and can evolve and learn quickly, exponentially fast, is this terrifying frontier that really makes us think, as it did for me.
Maybe terrifying is a weird word, because when I look at it and I'm not irrational, and I look at there's videos that show the progression of Boston Dynamics robots from several years ago to today, what they're capable of, and it is a fascinating thing, because you're watching all the hard work of these engineers and all these people that have designed these systems and have figured out all these problems that these things encounter, and they've come up with solutions, and they continue to innovate, and they're constantly doing it, and you're seeing this and you're like, wow, what are we going to see in a year? What am I going to see in 3 years? What am I going to see in 5 years? It's absolutely fascinating, because if you extrapolate and you just keep going, boy, you go 15, 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now, you have Ex Machina.
You have Ex Machina, and at least in our imagination. And the problem is there'll be so many other things that are super exciting and interesting.
Sure, but that doesn't mean it's not crazy. I mean, there's many other things you could focus on also that are also going to be bizarre and crazy. Sure, but what about it? Just it. It's going somewhere. That fucker is getting better. The parkour one is bananas. You see it hopping from box to box and left to right and leaping up in the air, and you're like, whoa, that thing doesn't have any wires on it. It's not connected to anything. It's just jumping from box to box. Like, if that thing had a machine gun and was running across a hill at you, you'd be like, oh, fuck, how long does its battery last? How many bullets does it have?
Let me just say that I would pick Tim Kennedy over that dog for the next 50 years.
50?
Yeah.
Man.
So
I'm a big Tim Kennedy fan.
But I'm talking about the well, but he'll probably have some robotic additions to his body to improve the.
Is he Tim Kennedy anymore?
If the brain is Tim Kennedy, then he's still Tim Kennedy. That's the way we think about it. But there is huge concern about the UN is meeting about this as autonomous weapons. It's allowing AI to make decisions about who lives and who dies is really concerning in the short. It's not about a robotic dog with a shotgun running around. It's more about our military wanting to make destruction as efficient as possible, minimizing human life. And
drones.
Drones. There's something really uncomfortable to me about drones in how, compare with Dan Carlin Hardcore History with Genghis Khan. There's something impersonal about what drones are doing, where it moves you away from the actual destruction that you're achieving, where I worry that our ability to encode the ethics into these systems will go wrong in ways we don't expect.
Right.
And so, I mean, folks at the UN talk about, well, you have these automated, so drones that drop bombs all over a particular area. So the bigger and bigger the area is over which you allow an artificial intelligence system to make a decision to drop the bombs, the weirder and weirder it gets. There's some line. Now, presumably if there's like 3 tanks that you would like to destroy with a drone, it's okay for AI system to say, I would like to destroy those 3, like, I'll handle everything, just give me the 3 tanks. But now this makes me uncomfortable as well, because I think I'm opposed to most wars, but it's just military is military and they try to get the job done. Now, what if we now expand that to 10, 20, 100 tanks, where you now let AI system drop bombs all over very large areas? How can that go wrong? And that's terrifying, and there's practical engineering solutions to that, oversight. And that's something that engineers sit down, there's an engineering ethic where you encode and you have meetings of how do we make this safe. That's what you worry about. The thing that keeps me up at night is the 40,000 people that die every year in auto crashes. Like I worry about you have to understand, like, I worry about the future of AGI taking over, but that's not as large.
AGI?
The AGI, artificial.
There's a wall. There's a wall. She's standing in front of a wall. The wall she's standing in front of says fuck Trump. I don't know. I didn't know you like walls as much as I do, bro. I love drawing walls. Drawing walls are like one of my favorite things, dude. I like drawing walls. Awesome. This guy knows his art. You think you're good at drawing faces? Huh? You think you can draw a face? Let me see you draw a wall. You got your wall, buddy. Got all the walls you want. And now he even stumped Joe Rogan when he said AGI. Man, they throw that G in there, it changes the whole thing. AGI.
Like, I worry about you have to understand, like, I worry about the future of AGI taking over, but that's not as large.
AGI?
The AGI, artificial general intelligence. That's kind of the term that people have been using for this. But maybe because I'm in it, I worry more about the 40,000 people that die in the United States and the 1.2 million that die every year from auto crashes. There's something that is more real to me about the death that's happening now that could be helped.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fight. But, of course, if the threat becomes real, then that's that's a serious threat to humankind, and that's something that should be thought about.
AGI.
If you haven't activated Ecwit's Facebook shop feature, you may be leaving money on the table.
AGI gonna take over the world, yo. Got them super villain type nerds at Google. Yo, D1. I wound up watching what you call it too. That Johnny Depp movie. Yo, trippy. Yo, that Johnny Depp movie was so crazy because yo, they had Elon Musk in the movie. I say, take this dude out. You know he been scared for a long time, yo. He been scared for a long time. He did a little cameo in the Transcendence movie. And that's how hard he been trying to warn people about this AI thing. It's getting crazy, bro. It's crazy. Transcendence. Johnny Depp. Was dying. Somebody shot him. So Johnny Depp is kind of like, it's kind of like a Elon Musk Google type scenario. So they talking about, you know, transhumanism, you know, making a real AI that can think and creating God and all of this stuff. And there's this underground society that's trying to stop these motherfuckers from making this real AI. And so they shoot Johnny Depp's character. And he survives the shooting, but come to find out, they laced the bullet with some kind of radioactive isotope. So he got radiation poison. He gonna die regardless. So now he know he on a time frame. But he like a super scientist. And his girlfriend and his homie, they are super scientists. So right before they die, they figure out a way to upload his mind into the computer. And so now he in the computer for years. Yo, he done built this whole big ass facility. He got like 10, 20 dozen projects going on, trying to solve all kind of stuff with these nano machines he done made. Man, he done got so smart inside the computer. Man, he done made a machine that can regrow flesh from small DNA samples. This dude regrew himself a body of himself and came back to life. Yo, it's crazy. It was a crazy movie. Oh, Equalizer Part 2. Damn. I gotta watch. Yeah, the first one was pretty good. Him rescuing the little prostitute chick. Yeah, Equalizer Part 2. I gotta watch that. I was actually going to try to get into some anime. I ain't watched some anime in a while, yo. That Sword Art Online. I watched season 1. I was thinking they got part 2 up there now on Netflix, so I was gonna watch that. Sword Art Online. I was even thinking about watching dang, what's the name of that movie? Ready Player One, about the VR movie. I was thinking about watching that again. Oh, I need to watch. I need to watch The Walking Dead today. I fell asleep on that jump. Mm. I've been watching this one show called Big Mouth on Netflix. I think it's Jordan Peele from Key and Peele did it. It's about some high school kids going through puberty, and they got this thing that follows them around called the hormone monster. It's funny as hell. The hormone monster always fucking with them at the wrong time. Ooh, getting some details on the gun. Yo, Standalone. That's pretty good, yo. I got the Arise series too, but yeah. I think the original movie and Second Gig are my favorite too. Standalone isn't bad, yo. It's Standalone Complex with the Individual 11. Oh man, yo, the Individual 11, yo, that was a crazy saga, yo. So you had the Laughing Man. In the movie you had the Puppet Man, the Puppet Master saga. Then you had the Laughing Man saga. You had the Individual 11 saga. And then in Arise, oh damn. Yeah, Ghost in the Shell 2, Innocence was the dolls. I got like the first two parts of the Arise series, but I can't really remember. I don't know. I think they changed it up a little bit too much. I didn't like the Arise as good as the older stuff. Might just be me though. I don't know. Okay.
So I think that it's entirely possible that
I've located him.
From what we're told, the initial reports say that the suspect willingly submitted to questioning.
When we explained to him that he'd be transferred into public security's custody, he almost seemed happy about it.
Happy?
Yes.
That doesn't make sense.
So? Bato's a no-show. I guess we aren't gonna meet up with the big guy.
He's sticking to his I only pick cases based on my gut instinct policy and passing on this one.
Ironic. Because if Bato hadn't poked his nose where it didn't belong, we couldn't have pieced this case together. Boma, Pazu, take the rookies and come in the north gate. We're on it. You and I are going in through the front.
Yes, sir. something, boss? You've changed too. You've outgrown your latte fixation.
Nobody said I outgrew it.
This Kogale guy is supposed to be 100% natural, right?
Yeah.
Explain that then.
What does it look like? It's an unexpected development.
So now there's a chance that the guy's armed?
Even if he is, it's only a 9mm.
This is just peachy.
Mr. Rowe, we're with public security. As you demanded, we'll consider safe passage for you out of the country. Release your hostage first, then we can talk. Colonel Kogale! Are you listening? Kogale! Drop your weapon! No one do anything. Come on, give me the gun.
Coombs. Looks like he's high on a reflex booster that the military uses.
Understood. Colonel Kogale!
The tears coming. I don't want to die.
If you don't want to die, put the gun down.
You won't make a public spectacle out of me.
No, don't!
Shit! Why'd he do it?
A puppeteer, huh? Not a bad name at all.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop is the truth, yo. I remember Outlaw Star was another good one for me.
Prime Minister, Special Operative Baron Tattoo is a true believer to signify their loyalty to General Karam have been committing suicide one by one here in Japan. And moments ago, his oldest son, Colonel Kageo, killed himself too. In light of these events, do you still insist that there is no need to interrogate the general?
Some reports state that Colonel Kageo's death was the result of a botched arrest attempt. Let's assume for a moment that indiscriminate terrorist acts are being planned as we speak by Silk Republic holdouts. I find it difficult to believe that General Karam could be involved while under house arrest. Enactment of the refugee naturalization policy met with opposition. Please do your utmost to avoid fueling the actions of the opposing faction. It was my impression that such work fell under the purview of public security.
Understood, Prime Minister. Ishikawa, send me the files from Kageo's debriefing.
Coming right up.
They're moving out.
Is that wise, sir? I don't believe she gave you authorization for this.
If no one finds out that I'm the person who opened up Pandora's box, then I didn't break my word to the Prime Minister.
Is the scene provided you with any new material data? No, that's all we received the outside, so we lead them down.
Bato! Are you listening to me, Bato?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Just where are you?
We found the body of the 13th tattooed man.
Is it another suicide?
Yeah. This is the last thing I want to say about this.
Yo, it's getting down to like the final details. I can't. I swear. Down to the wire. Down to the wire. I just want to get this one done like this week. Because the red has to dry. There's still, I gotta put some graphics on the back, but the red has to dry first. So while that's, if I can get most of this done, set this to the side, let it dry for a while, and then I can work on the next piece. I got a couple of shows coming up, and I gotta get some stuff done.
I guess it's nearly 2 years. Right along. I'm sorry about what happened with Kageo. It's not your fault. This is a vital matter which might ultimately prove to be the Prime Minister's Achilles heel. I suspect her intention is to keep a lid on things that she doesn't want to see right now.
Still, she was scared that the other countries at the six-party talks would examine the real motivation behind the refugee naturalization policy. This entire damn mess got started because she was coerced into looking after Kama.
That's because even before General Karam chose to seek asylum here in Japan, he threatened to carry out acts of terrorism in retaliation.
At the moment of my death, I will wreak terror upon the world. You mean that retribution declaration in the speech he gave when Sok fell?
Now that we've learned about this, the responsibility for handling the situation falls upon us. It's a mystery how the general's been able to issue orders from an island that's cut off from the rest of the world. But if we take Karam into custody, maybe we can uncover all the details of the plan. Also, we'll learn how far along this terrorist plot is right now.
Hey, Chief, I just heard from the Coast Guard. They've opened up the airspace over the island. We're good to land.
Fine.
Thank them for me and take us down at once. Make sure you doctor the records of the flight plan.
Roger that.
No firearms or knives detected. Clear.
Proto, turn the power back on and open the blinds.
Roger. What's wrong?
Chief.
Looks like he pulled them out himself.
This is bad news. If he killed himself too, it means that their plan might already be in motion.
What's that?
This? It links up to the nursing net. Basically, it's a terminal used to exchange patients' data with all medical facilities. There were rumors about Karam being seriously ill before he left the country. Apparently, they were true.
So even though he was hooked up to that, the government doesn't know he's dead?
Got it. He was going through a back door in the system. I think there was more to the good general here than meets the eye.
Looks that way. The comm log shows that he was in contact with his people.
We need to get this back to HQ for a thorough analysis. But it definitely appears that they were planning a terrorist strike using a micro-machine virus.
You said we're planning?
When his operatives began offing themselves one by one, he went and had a chat with Tagail. He questioned whether they should temporarily abort the plan.
What do you mean? Are you saying that the suicides weren't intended to be the plot's go code?
I don't know. But what really worries me is that there was a program planted in here from the outside designed to make it look as if Karam was still alive. I wouldn't be surprised if the government still hasn't caught on to the fact that this fella's long gone.
Then it's an assassination disguised as a suicide.
Yeah, done by somebody who doesn't want the government to know that Karam is dead. That or...
So, what about the micro-machine virus?
Well, looks like it was sent to the hospital of that Mashaba guy.
Assuming Bato is not playing hooky, he might be able to recover it for us. Togasa. What the hell is this?
Puppeteer. Azuma, just before Kageo died, do you remember him saying something about a puppeteer?
Come to think of it, maybe he did.
The keyword puppeteer shows up in this log too. It appears to be the code name for one of his men.
We had better apprehend Mashaba as soon as possible.
Once you make a complete dupe of the log, go meet up with Bato. It's imperative that we ascertain the full scope of this plot.
What do we do with the still?
Leave things as we found them. I hate having to do that, but we don't have an option since we were never here.
Understood.
sticks out like a sore thumb around here. The security system setup kind of reminds me of... Head around the outside.
Cyber brain when I'm in here. Die, puppeteer.
Must have gone down there. What's that? You dumbass! I'll come back for you later. Play dead in the meantime. Major?
It's been a long time, Bato. So tell me, what brings you out here?
Yeah, it is you. I ought to ask you the same question.
I pick and choose the investigations I conduct based on my gut feelings about them. Heads up. Hold on a minute.
What the hell?
Hold on to this one, would you?
Isn't that Mashaba?
You know who he is?
Do I know? Look, what the hell are you up to?
Thanks. I'll take that now.
Hey. Hmm?
Your tastes have changed. A new car?
She swiped it.
Not too shabby at all. Bato, I'm assuming that the reason you're here is because you're following up on a lead on that string of suicides by those tattooed men. But let me give you a bit of friendly advice. Don't go anywhere near the solid state, or you'll end up killing yourself the way they did.
Hmm?
I'll
Hey,
leave your car where you can find it.
Didn't I tell you to take one of your men with you?
You did, and that's why I brought this hunk of junk along.
We're too late. Mashaba is dead.
Cause of death?
Neck trauma from the impacts during his rampage. I guess we can rule Mashaba out as the puppeteer. Bato, why the hell was that thing going after you like that?
I don't know. And that's something I'd like to find out.
It's possible that he attacked you because he thought you were the puppeteer.
Hey, who's this puppeteer guy you keep talking about?
It all still remains speculation at this point. But we have reason to believe it's a rebel's code name. And we also believe that this is the person who orchestrated the deaths of the tattooed men and Karam. He's a super wizard-class hacker. Here's how he works. He hacks people's cyber brains and forces them to commit suicide.
Wizard class?
Chief, we figured out how Karam was going to pull off his terrorist attack.
Oh.
You should come and see this for yourself. This is the result of Karam's handiwork. Apparently he was trying to spread his virus.
Are you kidding me? Terrorism my ass. No human being could come up with something this demented.
Section 9 is gonna figure out my MO one of these days. Loki, Conan, hold down the fort while I'm gone. controlling two prosthetic bodies at the same time is apparently my limit.
I don't see any options. We need to start their training again from square one.
Oh, man. And we even went back to giving them natural oil.
I know. However, the observers have ultimately changed. It could therefore mean that their previous environmental conditions haven't been perfectly replicated.
Same old Bato, still obsessing over these guys and their development. Africa was much harsher than I imagined it'd be. I got new prosthetics before I left, but still.
If you're supplementing cardio functions with prosthetics, your O2 extraction rate will take a hit.
Hey, I don't have a choice. Not while I work for this outfit.
I respect that. First Togusa, now you.
Good work. From the roster we found at their hideout, we've learned that the group consists of 16 members. The 13 suicides, plus Kagale, Mashura, and someone named Raj Puto. Do you have any information on this Raj Puto guy? What's the likelihood that he's the puppeteer? So far, he hasn't managed to enter the country. We verified that much from their communications log.
There aren't a whole lot of people who are willing to go to the grave with you just because you tell them to. Things always seem to work out that way when a dictator buys the farm.
Still, 16 people is nothing to sneeze at. You're late again. When did you get back? Just now. Sorry, don't let me interrupt you.
Moving on. Next.
Regarding the missing micromachine virus, one gross, a total of 144 ampules, was brought into the country. They contain a biochem weapon, a genetically engineered form of smallpox with an added time release function.
That's one nasty little bug they lost track of. Bato. I need to make sure of something. You're positive that you didn't see anyone at Mashabas Hospital?
Yeah.
Then when that robot went berserk, there was no sign that a third party had been involved?
None.
If you say so.
What exactly are you implying?
Well,
the truth is, we weren't able to ID the owner of that vehicle that got flattened in the parking lot.
So, maybe it was stolen.
Judging from the security system on the thing, that's highly doubtful.
Plus, part of the surveillance camera footage had been deleted. I'm thinking that we should work under the assumption that someone else was there.
And you believe that mysterious someone was the puppeteer?
Why not? It's early in the game still, and Karam's plan hasn't gone into effect at this stage. But there's plenty of evidence to suggest that this puppeteer hacker will pick up where Karam left off. From here on in, we will narrow the focus of our investigation to tracking down the ampules while we are hunting for the puppeteer.
Roger. Togusa, what do you want me to do?
First off, go get some R&R. You won't do anyone any good if you're not in top form.
Gotcha. I can handle that order.
Oh, and Bato. This morning the chief said, and I quote, "It's about time you reeled him in. You can either devote yourself full time as an instructor, or you can work under me on this puppeteer case. I leave the choice up to you. What'll it be?"
Do you even need
hate to ask. The puppeteer job.
All right, then.
Yeah, I like those parts a whole lot, too.
Learn anything?
Yeah, a few things.
Cut to the chase and fill us in.
First off, I got the medical results back on the 16 kids we ran checkups on, and there were no signs that they'd been injected with micro machines. Although they showed symptoms of dehydration and injuries from past abuse, they were all basically healthy. But we also found out that portions of memory in every child had been erased. In addition, their IDs had been rewritten in order to turn them into somebody else.
They answered accurately when asked their names and addresses. But when the topic turned to their parents, they had absolutely no memories whatsoever.
And when we went to check out the addresses they gave, they were only elderly people who'd been living alone for years.
Maybe those people really are their parents.
Not likely. We saw everything from a woman living by herself in a 10-by-8 room to a rich old fart who could afford his own nursing robots. But what each and every one of them had in common was that they were hooked up to the nursing system, and they were all Noble Rot senior citizens. Needless to say, there were no signs that any children had ever lived there. We examined the residency ledgers, and child was listed next to each name. Those are undoubtedly Dr. Tu.
What is this Noble Rot you're talking about?
It's a reference to the fully automatic nursing system. It provides minimum treatment to the elderly who are hooked up to it. They lie there, languishing like grapes, infested with Noble Rot, shriveling on the vine.
It was originally developed with the intent of solving the aging population problem, and at the same time to prevent the aged from dying alone and unnoticed. But when NPOs learned that it was encouraging patients to remain bedridden by connecting to the net, they started rebuking it as a thinly disguised asset collection process.
You know this?
I've heard all about it from the old ladies who come to my pachinko place.
It's sort of like the bare bones model that was next to Charon's bed.
Now, wait a minute here. Kergale was trying to create human bombs, right? If that's true, why did he go to the trouble of erasing the kids' memories of their parents? If he wanted them to remain inconspicuous after he infected them with a virus, why wouldn't he send the kids back home after erasing the memories of their abduction?
You're asking the wrong guy.
You definitely have a point there. And if he cyberized them just for his plan, he's sure going to a lot of trouble.
The operations seem to have been done prior to the abductions. The Transformers seem legit, too.
Then the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare ought to have records. Since all of those children are 6 years old, a consent form signed by a parent or guardian is a legal requirement.
There are 144 missing ampules. We should check to see if there are any kids listed there who fit the same descriptions. We've got to make sure we cover all the bases.
Good call. If the 16 kids we rescued had their cyberization surgery done through legitimate channels, then the records would have been automatically recorded in the databases of the MHLW and the Management Ministry. Let's assume that they were snatched afterwards and their family registries altered to make them look like they were the children of those old folks. There'd be a discrepancy between the number of kids listed as cyberized in the National ID database and that listed by the MHLW.
I follow. All of the children claim to have the same last name as one of those seniors, so it should be simple to spot.
20,000?
There's gotta be a mistake. If kids were being swiped in such huge numbers, I think somebody would have noticed it.
Yeah, you're right. Besides, that number's way larger than anything we expected. What now?
Let's begin by eliminating the worst-case scenario. First, we ascertain the names and addresses of the excess children in the database.
I'm on it. I can have that for you in a few seconds.
It's a trap!
This is an emergency class E virus detected. Shut down all equipment immediately. Repeat, this is an emergency class E virus detected. Failure. Facility override.
It's no use. It won't accept any commands.
Higaki! You and Soga, lock down the backup server. It's too late. It's already been compromised. We've got to cut the damn power then. Give me a hand.
So a virus was planted in the Management Ministry's database, too. Data's also disappearing on their side.
Is the MHLW data intact?
Yeah. Hell if I know why, though.
Move it!
Well, I bet the Management Ministry's buzzing like a poked beehive right about now.
Shit. We just lost the best lead we had.
Yeah, but that's only true if it turns out that there really were 20,000 abductions.
What do you mean exactly?
Common sense dictates that Kagale's crew couldn't possibly have carried out that many kidnappings. Even if we were to tell ourselves that it's the work of this hacker, the puppeteer, the MO is just too sloppy. Don't you find it the least bit strange that this guy would leave traces of tampering only in the national ID system? This way, it's almost as if he's saying to us, I've nabbed these kids, now please find them. So for what it's worth, I'll throw in my 2 cents. I think he's got something else in mind entirely.
I have to concur with your opinion. Chief? These were sent to the MHLW's pathogenic microorganism isolation facility. Analysis pegged them as a soap-produced micromachine virus. This would suggest that our intel was indeed correct.
What did the person who delivered it look like?
There are absolutely no records remaining that might have offered a clue as to who delivered it or when.
Is there a chance that this person is the puppeteer?
It's possible.
If that's the case, what's the puppeteer's ultimate goal here? It couldn't be to keep Khan's terrorist plot rolling.
There's a possibility that the puppeteer is a hacker operating under the authority of some government agency.
What?
The way in which Karam's death was so deftly covered up has been nagging at me. As I was trying to find some answers, I heard rumors of a suspicious conversation that took place recently between the Prime Minister and the Foreign Affairs Ministry.
You believe the Foreign Ministry used a hacker to assassinate Karam because he was such a big thorn in the government's side?
To be perfectly blunt, yes.
In that case, we should probably start thinking of the kidnappings as a decoy. So, which section was it that took the job?
Well, this incident does not amount to a serious crime. Nevertheless, if we take into consideration the results that it's achieved, the government and we are on the same page. For now, the best advice I can offer is that we should let sleeping dogs lie and avoid making the situation any worse.
You
You're to identify the 16 children as soon as possible, but you've finished there. I'm temporarily taking you off the investigation. That's all, men.
All that work for nothing, and now we've got to tie up an assload of loose ends. Well, the least we can do is jump on the task at hand and track down the parents of those kids.
Sorry I'm late. I'm on my way there.
An old TV show, Ghost in the Shell. It's an old cop drama, but it's an animated series.
Need to ask you something.
What is it?
Who made you pull us off this case? Was it the Treaty Review Department?
You mean that? I cut a deal with Nakamura.
Something wrong?
Forget it. It's nothing.
That's them.
They're always worrying about catching flack for attacking hospitals, churches, and whatever. They left too many places for guerrillas to hole up in.
True enough. But if it's any comfort, we got 2 platoons assigned to cleaning out the nests.
I hope so. You Yanks carry the standard for being a fundamentally sloppy lot.
Yeah? Well, I think you Limeys put too much faith in that oh-so-legendary SAS of yours. Got that?
Thinks he's bloody Rambo.
Thinks he's bloody Rambo.
Any moment.
Yeah, but the dialogue is nothing cartoonish about it. It's all really serious military scenarios, hostage scenarios, terrorist scenarios. It's like a really in-depth cop drama. The vocabulary they use and just the language they use is very, very a serious show. There's not like slapstick, and there is some jokes, some intentional jokes in there that are meant to make you laugh, but it's very, very, very rare. That shit is like straight up military cop drama.
Ishikawa, figure the sniper's using a satellite downlink. Hack the satellite and pinpoint his location.
Understood.
Why? Me? Son of a bitch! Corporal Freeze! Just don't move!
He isn't using a satellite. There's a wide area jammer running with a 1-click radius.
Can you try using the source of the jamming signal to determine his exact position?
Already on it.
Man, you two are good. You've been doing this a while?
If you've got time to chat, you've got time to do some recon, stupid rookie.
Which way did the fire come from? Were you able to get a fix? The sniper's gonna hear us! Switch over to Cybercom!
Try it, tough guy. That static will give you a mean bite.
Sorry, I slipped up. I didn't get a fix on the shooter's location.
Oh, we gotta help him soon. Oh.
Hey, Sergeant, what's the plan? Ginger, you're gonna rescue Mother. Pull him out quick. We'll all cover you. Snow, you help him. Now get moving.
Bigoted son of a bitch.
Hey, Japs! You guys target the buildings to the west. The rest of you take the buildings to the east. Let's do it.
You're gonna be okay. We'll get you out of here.
Can you handle him?
Yeah.
Bloody
hell, it's from the west!
I better keep you clowns wondering where I am for a little while longer. Now let's see you sweat.
A 20 millimeter?
Wait a minute! Hold your fire, man! Stop shooting! Snow, which direction was Ginger shot from?
From the west. Huh? What, are you blind? That car got blown to hell just now! The enemy's to the east! No, maybe there's a damn good chance that we're surrounded!
Where could the jamming signal be coming from?
I've only got a rough guess, but I'd say there are 3 possible spots. The building to the east, the church, and the hospital.
Could the east one be a decoy?
Probably. Right before the 20 millimeter fire, the signal cut out for a second. And Warfare 101 says to keep the sun at your back.
Sergeant, we think the east one is an unmanned decoy. If we were surrounded, we'd be taking more fire than this. We might only be up against a single sniper.
How in the hell can you be so sure?
That's what the situation tells me. Just hear me out. I'm gonna circle around the buildings to the east and make my way over to you. If it does turn out to be unmanned, I'll give you a signal. When I do, have everyone open fire on the church and hospital. Take advantage of that cover to retrieve the corporal and the tactical nuke. Without that, we're stuck here.
Okay, try it, but take Snow with you.
Detouring to regroup, huh? I guess they'll soon find out that the east building is deserted. Before that, I'll pick off another one of them.
At Braymore and Flanagan, you'll get free next-day mattress delivery 7 days a week.
Major,
Almost there.
the military's itching to jump in. Watch your back.
Thanks for the concern. Bato!
I'm still en route. That explains the interference I picked up when I was listening in on the sniper team.
Togasa, Ishikawa.
Ah, damn it. There's just too many channels. This is going to take a couple of hours to pinpoint.
Togasa, go to the main courtyard and get ready to storm the place.
Copy that.
Saito.
I've neutralized the image curtain, but all those trees down there limit my firing field.
Pazu, Boma.
Ready when you are.
Who's ever controlling the geisha robots ought to be nearby. Don't shoot the power transformer. I'll upload a virus before he can wipe the evidence.
But Major, what if the robot geishas demand a pay raise? Knock it off.
All personnel in position. Standing by.
Right. You're on.
Go!
俺が最後にプルトニウムを持ち出す。奥の建物で落ち合うぞ。あん中は迷路だ。まだ正気はある。来たぞ、急げ。数松、2セット。くそ。
Bit more and I will be finished with this piece. I'm gonna take a little break, handle some other stuff, and check back to see if I'm in here later on this afternoon. And if not, I'll definitely be back in the morning. Dang. I feel like I should take me a little nap. Peace, guys.